All right, welcome back to the show, everyone, and welcome to another After Dark. I hope you guys are having a good night so far. I hope you guys had a good day. Somebody in the members section pointed this video out to me, and this is from Red Blooded Sports, but this time it's about Jordan. This is what if Michael Jordan was traded in 1988? Oh, I originally read that wrong, and I thought it said 98. Okay, 1988. This is going to get interesting. I'm not even going to speculate on this because I'm very interested in what direction this video is going to go. As I always do, you guys, I'm going to link the original video from Red Blooded down below in the description. So if you enjoy this content, consider subscribing. Red Blood is currently at 3.3 thousand subscribers, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty young channel from everything I can tell. But it's entertainment is what it is. So I usually see his videos are targeting LeBron, and they're hilarious. But if we're going at Jordan this time, this should be a very interesting video. So anyways, you guys, the link will be down below. Red Blooded, if you're watching, shout out to you, man. What's up? Hope you're well. And also, shout out to members. I appreciate you all. You'll see a list of members in the description. Guys, I think that's it. I don't want to speculate on this intro because I don't know what direction he's going to go. So let's just watch it and see what it is. Like the video, please. I'd appreciate it. And here we go.
Michael Jordan became a sports icon by winning 6 rings in the 90s with the Chicago Bulls. But in 1988, a trade was nearly executed that would have taken MJ out of the Windy City and sent him to the NBA's version of Purgatory. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're gonna discuss one of the most insane what-ifs in professional sports history. Let's get at it. The year is 1988, and Michael Jordan has reached the very pinnacle of individual accomplishments in the NBA. He led the league in scoring at 35 points per game, his second scoring title. MJ also earned Defensive Player of the Year honors, while leading the entire league in steals as well at 3.1 per game. The Young Bulls also took on Jordan's defensive focus as they led the league in points per game allowed for the 1988 season. However, the Bulls lacked any real success in the playoffs, winning only 1 game in the first 3 series of Jordan's career. And the 1988 playoffs pretty much went the same way. Although Chicago stole Game 2 on the road, they were quickly dispatched by the Pistons in 5. In the summer of 1988, before it truly became a running narrative in the mainstream media, there was talk within the Bulls organization that their team may not be able to win a championship with Michael Jordan. And while offensive displays made for stars like Magic Bird and...
I mean, to be fair, that was the narrative back then until he won, and then he won and won and won and won and won. Until before that, that was always the narrative. Can a team win with Michael Jordan? Because he was putting up crazy numbers, of course, but the question was, can he lead?
Dominique, titles were won with defense and with team play. And while Jordan and the Bulls were playing defense, they couldn't exactly play team ball on offense, as many deferred to the league's greatest offensive weapon in Jordan. And while the Bulls were wrestling with that conundrum, the Los Angeles Clippers entered the chat. The Clippers in the 1980s, under Donald Sterling's ownership, were a shitnado of bad decisions. Indeed, they were the NBA's version of Chernobyl. Bombed out for years, radioactive, and basically uninhabitable.
Yeah, getting Jordan would be smart, though, because one way or another, win or lose, you're going to sell some tickets at least.
And if you were sent there, chances are your NBA lifespan would be cut short. And I'm not kidding there either. Marcus Johnson, Bill Walton, and Norm Nixon all saw their numbers decline and their injuries pile up after they joined the Clip ship. Even future number 1 overall pick, Danny Manning, would tear his ACL during his rookie campaign. This was the last franchise that deserved to be graced by an ascending generational superstar. The last place that a vicious competitor who demanded winning like Michael Jordan would ever hope to be sent to. And yet, they shot their shot at Bulls management, and their shot was actually really good. But before that, I've got merch! Go ahead, visit my store. My first collection is up, and if you'd like to help support this channel, a mug or a t-shirt can make a statement, make a friend, or better yet, make an enemy of your LeBron-loving co-workers
That's
and
awesome,
friends.
dude.
Back to the Clippers offer.
That is so
I
cool.
can't play the clip here, but as former WWE champion Ted
I'm pretty sure we all got a buddy or two who would be hilarious to give something like that to. I definitely do.
$1 Million Man DiBiase used to say, every man has his price.
Ted
and
DiBiase.
boy, did the Clippers come up with a price in exchange for the services of the most dominant
What is
two-way
that
player
phone?
in the NBA. The offer was simple, any 5 players or draft picks. Now, the players had just completed a season with 17 wins, and the year before, if you could believe it, was even worse, with 12 wins, which was the second worst season in NBA history at the time. So the roster didn't present too many opportunities, but it wasn't bereft of talent. There was the number 4 pick in the 1987 draft, small forward Reggie Williams. You had Michael Cage, NBA rebounding champion, and Jerry curl enthusiast. Kenny Snake Norman would put up 18 points per game next season. You had the incredibly talented and maddeningly lazy Benoit Benjamin. You had Mike Woodson. Yes, that Mike Woodson, putting up 17 a game. There was also Michael Phelps. No, not that Michael. This Michael Phelps. But you really couldn't entertain a serious package for MJ with those kind of players. What really made that offer pop was the draft picks. Because at that time, the Clippers held picks number 1 and number 6 in the 1988 NBA draft. The Bulls held the number 11 overall pick as well, which would give them a chance to add a massive influx of young positional talent right across the board. The Bulls would...
Heck, the only way I would trade Jordan, first of all, I would never do it, but if I had to do it, man, you better give me your first round picks for the next 5 years, plus whoever your best player is.
Jordan were exciting and ascending, yet they were not at that time serious contenders, and nobody knew if they would ever gel to become that. This trade would have put Chicago in the mix right away, and under head coach Doug Collins, given them a chance to play the type of team-oriented offense that Jordan's brilliance kind of prevented them from doing. And this gave Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf reason to seriously mull this offer over. And he did. If Reinsdorf pulled the trigger, he trades away MJ, his mystique, his ability to sell jerseys, and all the attention that comes with him. But what kind of team would they get in return? Don't forget to follow me on X at Red Blooded Sports. Well, the Bulls already had Charles Oakley and Horace Grant, so they likely wouldn't have taken Danny Manning number 1 overall. Instead, they would have grabbed future Indiana Pacers All-Star Rick Smits as their new starting center. Who would they target at pick 6? Well, why not the closest copy of Jordan, a player who the GOAT even admitted was a challenge to guard Mitch Richmond. And while Mitch did go to Golden State at pick 5, our alternate timeline Bulls could have certainly sent a package, perhaps another player or two, along with the 6th pick, to jump up the board and grab the exciting Kansas State guard. And don't forget, they still had pick 11 to grab a point guard, and DePaul's Rod Strickland was still on the board. However, Bulls GM Jerry Krause had another option in mind to run his offense. Apparently, Krause, for some time, had his eye on Kevin Johnson, who was backing up Mark Price on the Cavaliers. Krause's plan was to deal either Oakley or Grant for Johnson, and this wasn't that far-fetched at all. Johnson eventually landed on Phoenix, as he was included in a swap for Suns power forward Larry Nance. So in this alternate...
I mean, I'm a happy guy that he played for the Suns, man. He was the heart of our team pretty much his whole career.
Timeline. The new look for 1988 Chicago Bulls would roll out Rick Smits at center, Oakley or Grant at power forward, Scottie Pippen at small forward, Mitch Richmond at shooting guard, and either Rod Strickland or Kevin Johnson at point guard, with Reggie Williams, Ken Norman, and Michael Cage coming off the bench, all coached up by Doug Collins. Given a season to figure out their roles, even in the stacked Eastern Conference of the late 80s, that team right right there is a team that will contend in short order and would have been positioned to contend for a very long time. And looking at how these players' careers turned out, that is a team right there. Jerry Krause would have looked like a genius. Again, if the Bulls traded MJ, you could kiss any chance of them winning 6 chips goodbye, but they would instantly have become as deep and nearly as talented as any team in the East from 1988 till the late 1990s. And guys, my backup channel is up on Rumble. Open up a new browser, go to rumble.com, type in Red Blooded Sports, and follow me there and bookmark that page because that's my backup channel just in case. So
that's not a bad idea because you never know on YouTube. You never know. I've heard of very well-established channels all of a sudden just gone.
Reinsdorf gave this trade plenty of thought, so much that it's ended up in Sam Smith's book, The Jordan Rules, and it's been talked about online now for really over 30 years. So let's take a look at the downstream consequences of Reinsdorf accepting this trade. Starting with Michael Jordan. Would we remember MJ's career differently? You bet. I mean, could he have...
Dude, the AI is out of control, man. What is this?
Won 6 rings after playing a chunk of his prime years in the abyss of perpetual losing that was the Clippers organization? Not likely. In 1988 would have been a nightmare scenario for Jordan and for the rest of the league because he would have unleashed his rage upon the rest of the NBA.
It's true. He probably would have averaged 45 points a game.
NBA purgatory with a notoriously shitty owner and a roster that was depleted of talent. He'd have every reason to ignore his teammates and go scorched earth on the entire league. Think about it. Could he have thrown together a 45-10-10 season in 1989? Why not? Think of Russell Westbrook's 2017 season on Flocka.
Yeah.
Could this have embittered Jordan to the point that it endangered his carefully crafted public image? Some of his very best seasons would have been wasted with a goofy owner and an unserious franchise, which would turn...
Look at the AI. PPP.
Have been wasted with a goofy owner and an unserious franchise, which would turn out to be a huge net negative for the league over the next decade.
Sure.
Regardless of how badly his hypothetical exile turned out, the interest in him from other teams in his next turn at free agency would have been absolutely historic. Additionally, Jordan would have likely lost marketing clout in a trade, as there was no way he would eclipse Magic Johnson's commercial appeal in Los Angeles, especially on a shitty team. Jordan would have gone from the king of Chicago to living under Magic Johnson's considerable shadow in LA. And with no postseason wars against the Detroit Pistons, does Jordan ever need to bulk up like he did in 1990? Does he ever even meet Tim Grover, the man who helped him extend his career into his 40s? Or does he fade out around his early 30s like so many other players did at that time? In Detroit, there would be no reason to create the Jordan rules. And if the Pistons never really grasp the bad boy persona, do they win multiple titles? Maybe the Cavaliers reach the...
They won 2. Maybe there's an argument that they could have gone to a 4th straight championship there if Jordan was not around.
1989 finals. Don't forget, their promising season was...
fourth straight finals, that is.
Cut short by Michael Jordan's shot. Yeah, in 1990 the Pistons probably win, but by 1991, do the baby Bulls make it out of the East? What about Charles Oakley? He might have been traded, but not to the Knicks for Bill Cartwright, since our alternate reality Bulls already had a center in Smits. Would the New York Knicks of the 90s have truly become a legendary, iconic team without Charles Oakley? What about Scottie Pippen's career? Undoubtedly, Scottie would have still achieved excellence, but would he really become his best version without the demanding nature of Jordan's tutelage? The player in this scenario is most...
I don't think so, but I agree with you. He would have had a good career, but not like we know him now, because that was iron sharpening iron in practice.
favorable to is the 90s most underrated star, because this would absolutely change the way we think about Mitch Richmond. Rock spent 7 seasons of his prime in his own Jordan on the Clippers scenario, scoring 22 a night as the primary offensive option on a team that was a perennial doormat in Sacramento. Couldn't he have thrived as a star in Chicago and grabbed a ring or two with Doug Collins and a strong surrounding cast? Give Collins his ring, and we think differently about Doug Collins too. And speaking of coaches, isn't it possible that Pat Riley would pass on the Knicks job in 1991 and stay in LA to coach Jordan with the Clippers? How would this scenario affect the legendary 1992 Olympics team? Jordan would...
Or once again, does Pat Riley ever get fired? No, he probably would. My bad. I got the timeline wrong. No, he would get fired. But yeah, he'd probably go and coach MJ. You're right.
Surely be on it, but would he grab the alpha dog mantle in the way that he did? Or would he have been seen as Magic's sidekick? And if Jordan isn't the 2-time champion, does the NBA achieve that same global audience that it did after those games? And if it doesn't, does that mean that some of the European talent
you bring up a good point, and I don't think it would have. Something that made all of this special was that these guys, they all played for different teams. That's what made like the broad appeal so great with basketball, was that you had these individual stars leading individual teams. If these 3 were on the same team, or even if these 2 were on the same team, it would not have the same effect at all
after those games? And if it doesn't, does that mean that some of the European talent that is pervasive in the league never arrives? How about Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf? Would he have been run out of town for trading their generational superstar? And if he really did become the second city's villain, maybe he takes the Chicago White Sox out of town like he threatened to do. I mean, does Space Jam get made with Magic Johnson instead?
In 95, Magic was done playing for a while. But I mean, Space Jam doesn't get made, I think.
6 rings, what happens to MJ's standing in the GOAT debates? Assuming he grabs a couple of rings in the back half of his career, where do you think he lands in the top 12 of all time? And does the historical narrative now center around how he spent most of his career in Magic Johnson's shadow? Does Kobe Bryant end up with more titles than the player he modeled his entire game around? I know we're throwing a lot out here, but let me know in the comments.
And again, that's a ripple, because Kobe is not Kobe if Jordan wasn't Jordan.
What you think about some of these alternate universe outcomes. And I guess the biggest what if here to me is, wouldn't it feel dirty? Wouldn't it feel wrong to wear a Michael Jordan number 23 Clippers jersey? Me personally, I am pretty glad that I'm living in this reality. And if you like this video, don't forget to like this video, hit that little thumbs up button.
Okay. It's at the last second there. If Jordan ended up getting traded to the Clippers and he won 2 championships throughout his career, where do we put him? Somewhere around like Dwayne Wade? Somewhere between like Dwayne Wade and Isaiah Thomas. So, in other words, he's not in my top 10 anymore. He'd be in my top 20. Right? Yeah. He'd be somewhere in my top 20. I'm pretty confident with that answer, but it's rare that I actually like work through a top 20. But no, he'd find his place in there with 2 championships. With 1 championship, he might not be on my top 20 anymore. But gladly this didn't happen. I thought this was gonna be like. Multiple possible scenarios, because I didn't know about the Clippers thing back in '88, so this was kind of a surprise to me. And if he got stuck in the Clippers his entire career, that would have been terrible, man. That would have been absolutely terrible. But then I could possibly imagine Jordan asking for a trade, or maybe Jordan would be the exact thing the Clippers need, because he'd be talking to ownership, being like, "Hey, you've got like 5 more years of my prime. Do you want to win or what? Because after this, it's over. So are you going to put a good team around me or what? What's going to happen here?" And if he didn't put a good team around Jordan, knowing Jordan, he probably would have retired. You've just been, I can't imagine Jordan demanding a trade. That's the problem. But if he did, then he'd be like, yeah, the most sought after free agent in the market. But if he stayed with the Clips, it would be up to the owner. Are you trying to win or what? You know, because if you're trying to win, you got 5 or 6 years here, a window to build a team around me, and maybe we can win some championships together. But we'll never know. I'm glad it played out the way it did. His career has a lot of twists and turns to it, including like the retirement, the baseball thing, the coming back, the 3 championships, the retirement, the Washington thing. Honestly, I loved it. I love the story. So I'm glad it played out exactly the way it played out. It shows that he's a human, you know? And when he walked away the first time, that's for human things, you know? For human things. His father passing, you know, him wanting a new challenge, and then coming back to face the new challenge of winning another 3-peat. And then coming back as a 39 and 40-year-old just to try to help his team do something and try to pass on some knowledge while he's at it. All very human things. So yeah, I'm glad it played out the way it did. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you thought. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Like the video if you could, I'd appreciate it. And most importantly, be water, my friends. Peace out.